Welcome back. Here we are for a little Masters talk and do a little recap of the last 25 Masters that we've seen here, Paul. Obviously, memorable, crazy finishes, some blowouts. You know what? The Masters right around the corner. I thought, why not? Let's do a recap of the last 25. I've seen most of them as they were going on. But obviously, a couple I missed. I missed the 2000, the 2001, and the 2002 Masters. But we'll still go down that memory lane and give a little recap of what happened. And obviously, some of them, like I said, weren't the most exciting, but usually there was some thrilling finishes and some pretty good playoffs.
Oh yeah,
right. Yeah.
Whoever said golf was boring has never watched the Masters, especially when you're getting guys that are in a battle for that jacket. Golf is boring, yeah, maybe to play it from time to time, but you watch the Masters when you got a bunch of guys in contention going for that green jacket, it gets pretty exciting,
Yeah. I mean, like these guys, this is what they practice for. This is the Super Bowl of golf, right? But heading back to the 2000 Masters, from what I recall, obviously VJ won it. He was battling with a lot of the top players in the world. Ernie Els, David Duval at the time, I believe, hadn't won a major. Yeah. He was one of the top players. Tiger was sort of in the mix, but he was like 5-6 back. He never really threatened. I think he got a top 10 at the tournament or whatever. But super windy on Saturday, and Jim Nantz said that he thought VJ won the tournament on Saturday by shooting, I think, 69 or 70, where everyone else was shooting like 78. So that was a 2000 Masters. VJ winning, I think, by 4. He made a nice birdie on the last hole. That was cool to see. So he got his lifetime exemption. And moving along to the 2001 Masters. This was the fourth leg of the Tiger Slam, Paul. Tiger had won the 2000 U.S. Open at Pebble Beach, the 2000 Open Championship at St. Andrews, and the 2000 PGA Championship, I believe, at Valhalla. In a playoff against Bob May, of all people. But hey, right? So the 2001 Masters, it was the same type of guys who were in contention. Phil, Tiger were, I think, in the last group. VJ was right in the mix. Ernie, Goose, those type of culprits. But no, it wasn't much of a battle at the end of the day. The Eldrickian one, as Don Taylor nicknamed him. He, he does what he usually does. Doesn't make mistakes. He made his odd birdie here and there. Everyone behind him crumbled, and he got his Tiger Slam, and it was pretty cool. I mean, to watch in retro, the guy wins 4 majors in a row. Some guys will never win 4 in their whole life, let alone 1, right?
Some guys will never win 1 major in their entire career, let alone 4. So
that was unreal.
Yeah, and he's done it more than once. And when he was out for his extended leave, let's say, when he came back to play, he goes to the Masters. What does he do? He wins the damn thing. It's usually when Eldrick shows up at the Masters and he's in contention on the weekend. Like if he makes the cut and he's there on Saturday and he's in, like, say the top 10, then it's a pretty good bet that he's gonna, he's gonna come out on top on Sunday. Very rarely does he not, blow people away.
All of his Masters wins, his first 4 of his first 5 was when he had the lead, right? So he was a closer when he had the lead. He was like a Mariano Rivera, Tom Hankey type of dude. He just slammed it shut. You're not taking the lead from him back then, right? So that's what happened in 2002. It was him and Goosen in the last pairing. Goosen had a nice Saturday, I think 66. Again, it was him battling with Phil and VJ. VJ was, I think, down by 2 or 3, and then they got to 11. VJ hits it on in 2, but 3 putts from like 40 feet, and then you can hear some guy in the back, and he had like a redneck voice. I'll never forget it. He goes, "Start the coronation." Right? Because VJ went from like 2 back to 3 back, and then like it was over basically back then. And then Ernie dumped his ball onto, I think, 13 and made like a 9 or something.
Oh yeah,
he like hooked it into the trees, hooked it again back out of bounds, and then hit it on. And then it was ugly to watch, but I mean, Tiger, he did what he had to do, and then he won the 2002 Masters. That was his 3rd green jacket. At this time, Phil had 0 majors. You know, a lot of his contemporaries had 0 majors. Sergio Garcia didn't have any. Right?
Yeah. How many second places does Phil have at the Masters though? Doesn't he have the record for second at the Masters? You know, and a lot of them, I think,
the U.S. Open.
He came into second to Eldrick.
Yeah, he's got the record for U.S. Open seconds at 6. So moving on to the 2003 Masters, this is the first Masters I watched live and with some interest. It was this is when the big talk, when the course was Tiger approved. They had lengthened the course, right? They had so they lengthened the course, and they put some trees up and this and that, right? And it was wet. It was a nice, a lot of times in Augusta in the spring it's wet, right? Like that's how it goes. And everyone's like, okay, the course has been lengthened. It's wet, so you're going to need bombers to win, right? So everyone's predicting. I wasn't betting golf back then, but I think Tiger was like 3-1 favorite to win because he'd already won the last 2, right?
Yeah.
And it was just like his playground at the time. So I'm watching this, and the guys who are like leading most of the way are like Jeff Maggart and Mike Weir. Like not exactly bombers, you know what I mean, right? Like good players, right? Good iron players, good chippers, this, that. So it ends up going to a playoff. It was Len Matisse. He posted a good number on Sunday. Weir need to make like a 6-footer, I think, on the 18th, and he clutched up and made it for his par.
Yeah.
And they went to a playoff. They went to that infamous 10th hole, and I think there's about 4 or 5 holes at Augusta. You go left on, like the second shot, like there's nothing.
Yeah.
Like you are DOA, and 10 was one of them. Len Matisse, I think he had mud on his ball, and the ball went left down the hill and behind some tree. He was stymied. Like imagine that you're at the Masters, you're playing the round of your life, you're in a playoff, and you get mud on your ball, and you're behind a tree for your 3rd, so he had to chip out, and he made double. And then at that time, Weir he 3-putted for his bogey to win. And that was the first Canadian to win a Masters, first lefty at the time. It was the start of an onslaught, right? Because next year, Phil comes out and he takes it. He was battling with, I believe it was DeMarco and Freddie Couples. Ernie Els posted a number.
Yeah.
That was a really exciting finish. Everyone thought that was going to go to a playoff. I think Phil birdied 16 to tie Els, and then in 18 he birdied it, so they weren't going to go to a playoff, right? I was kind of, I'll admit, I was kind of rooting for Ernie at the time.
Yeah.
But it was funny when Phil made his birdie, and then he had that, what was it, 2 or 3 inch credit card hops, Paul? Like, what was your estimation on the hops that Phil had on?
Oh yeah,
was
but
it 2 or 3? I might be being a bit generous. Yeah, but it was. I mean, he got his first green jacket, his first major. Obviously, it has 6 in total, but I mean, like, it was an exciting finish. I was like, man, this is like the 2 Masters I had seen up and close and personal as you can on TV, every minute, every second. I'm like, these are crazy finishes. This is an exciting 18th playoff, this, that. And I believe 2004 was a year that Tiger was knocked off his throne. VJ had taken number 1. And in 2005, it was the first Masters in like 5 or 6 years that Tiger wasn't ranked number 1. And he wasn't actually doing that great at the beginning of the first round. I think it was Chris DeMarco again. He was doing really well. He was leading.
Didn't Eldrick change his swing back then as well too? Like he
did.
had that perfect swing that who copied his swing?
Adam Scott.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, because Adam Scott, there's a lot of golfers out there that mimicked his swing because it was, just that friggin' good.
But at the time, his swing was like it was like a collage of old guys' swings that he had watched on TV, right? Like Nicholas and Norman and Freddie and guys like that, right? So it's kind of like a recycling pattern, right? He watched the old guys, like the newer kids are watching him, and they're like, "Hey, man, this guy is the best ever, possibly of ever." But yeah, I remember it was rain-soaking Masters as well in 2005. There was like a major rain delay, and then I think Tiger went out and I don't know what he did, but in like a round and a half, he basically caught up to DeMarco at the lead, and then I believe going into, what was it, 15 or 16, Tiger was tied with DeMarco, and then DeMarco hits it to about, I don't know, 17, 18 feet on 16. Eldrick hits it way left on 16, right? Where the fans, the patrons are, right? And everyone's like, there's no way he can get this up and down. There's a huge slope. He has to go up and down. And obviously he ends up chipping it in with the, the Nike sign. And I remember watching it live. Both of us watched it and our jaws dropped. And like, we didn't say anything for 5 seconds. We were just like, did that seriously fucking happen? Right? Like I looked at you and I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Anyways, he has a one shot.
Like Eldrick does it again, You were sitting there waiting for the great Tiger to
he messed up,
bare his claws, and that's what he did.
He did, but I mean, it went to a playoff. DeMarco fought back, and then went to a playoff.
Yeah.
Tiger got his birdie and won his fourth green jacket at the time. I think 4 in like 9 or 8 years or whatever he had done. Yeah. Playoff finish. Hats off to DeMarco. He had just poor guy, man. The guy had gone into a playoff in a major the year before at the PGA Championship against VJ and lost. And the next major was the 2005 Masters, and he loses against Tiger. And it's like, dude, if you're gonna pick you're picking the wrong guys to go into playoffs with, right? Right.
Well, who else would you rather lose to? Like if you're going to lose to somebody, don't you want to lose to the greatest golfers of all time or some peon nobody's ever heard of before? I'd rather be losing to Beej and Eldrick. It's like, hey, I got beat by the best.
You got a point.
You got a point, Paul. I came in second to these guys. Hey, give me a pat on the back. I mean, come into second to those guys, is no small feat, and it also depends on how big of a it all depends on how big of a gap there is as well too. It's not like it was. I mean, we've seen some where there have been complete blowouts at some of these majors, and other times where it comes down to a foot putt. That can either make or break it. So
moving along, we went to the 2006 Masters now. Phil had just won, I think, the week prior with 2 drivers in his bag. He had
I remember that.
He had a draw driver and like a fade driver.
Yeah.
And no one had won the week prior to the Masters and then won the Masters in like years and years. And no one had ever won with 2 drivers, right? So it was crazy, right, at the time. But I mean, he went out and won it. He was not the greatest competition that year. I think it was Fred Couples was up there. I think DeMarco again was up there. I think Tiger was just coming back from his father's passing.
Yeah,
and he was trying to like win the jacket for his old man. And he was in the top 10 as usual, right? But he didn't really continue that much. Phil got his second jacket, and then 2007, I believe that was the Immelman year.
Yeah.
It was Immelman versus Brandt Snedeker. down the stretch. They had kind of stretched out. I think Immelman was up 1 or 2 on 13, and then Snedeker rinsed it into the tributary of Rays Creek, or Rays Creek for our American friends. But anyways, yeah, I remember that was like a backbreaker, and then basically the tournament was pretty much over from then. But that was obviously Immelman's highlight of his career, but he had a lot of injuries and back injuries that derailed him. But he had won like the Western Open. Like I think a year or two prior to that. Like it was a big event. You win that, it's almost like a mini major. So he had some pedigree. He'd won some big events in Europe. So I just remember it was. I think Tiger made a charge on Sunday, but he didn't quite get there, and then I think he blamed his caddy for telling him to hit driver on number 3 when he shouldn't have. But it's not like Tiger to make excuses, as we know. So yeah, Immelman got that jacket. 2008, this was a weird Masters. Like the winning score was over par. It was the cold Zach Johnson year. He had his blue vest on, and it was just freezing cold, wet, and I think he won +2. Tiger came in second. Everyone was ready to hand it to Tiger because, he was number 1 ranked player at the world at the time, and who the hell is Zach Johnson? Like, he's a good PGA Tour type player, right? But he's not long enough to win the Masters. He's like hitting it probably 260, 270 at the time. And he just laid up, kind of like what Mike Weir did at the 03 Masters, just laid up at every par 5, didn't test the creeks on 13 and 15.
Yeah.
And just let his wedge do the work. And big upset. I remember at the time when he won, a couple of my buddies were like, "Who the hell's Zach Johnson?" Right? And I'm like, "Oh, he's a good player, right?" I'm like, he's taken down the best in the world before. It was just his time and the right conditions. And I don't know if I'll ever see another Masters where the winning score was over par, Paul. +2.
I don't think we've had one where it's been where you've had a Masters like that. That was one of those odd ones.
No, man. That's what would happen if they played in like the summertime at that course, because they would just be brick hard and like they couldn't control the ball, right? They would just, how do you even land it on those greens? But the 09 Masters, kind of a sad Masters. I was rooting hard for Kenny Perry. He pretty much had the lead like day one, slinging draws around Augusta National, just driving it really, really good. He had won like I think 3 times in 03, and I think a couple of times in like 05. So he's been a hot player at the time. It was just basically him and no one else really contending. And then a bad chip on 17. He missed the green, made a bogey. Another bad chip on 18, as when he missed the green, made a bogey. Went to a playoff with Angel. And I believe it was Chad Campbell. And I think Chad Campbell got eliminated first hole. And then, Kenny fucked up again. He hit another bad shot on 10, the playoff hole. Hit it left. You missed that green left, and that's kapoots. And Angel won his first green jacket. And speaking of Angel, he was just serving
the duck in the green jacket.
He was just serving some prison time, actually. And he just got out, so he'll be in the 2025 Masters. So looking forward to seeing what was his nickname? El Guapo or something like that, or the Duck, right? So
the Duck. The Duck.
2010 Masters, it was a battle between Westwood and Phil. Who else? I think the Eldrickian one made a little charge in that one as well. Didn't obviously get there in the end. And there was that infamous 6-iron Phil hit from the trees at 13 over the creek. He didn't make eagle on the shot, but he made birdie, and that basically sewed up his 3rd green jacket, and that's the most for any lefty, obviously, at Augusta National. Moving along to the 2011 Masters. This was, I thought, one of the more exciting Masters. was a young kid from Northern Ireland named Rory McIlroy. Basically dominated the tournament for 54 holes. 54 holes. This kid came out and just ripped high draws around Augusta National. And I think he had like a 4 or 5 shot lead going into the final round. A lot of people are like glazing him and handing him the jacket already. And, he's the next Eldrick, he's the next Tiger. And it's like, whoa. Augusta National tells you who's going to win that jacket. You don't tell anyone else. So he screws up on the last round. He gets the case of the lefts and just makes a lot of doubles and triples. And just he's out of the picture. And then it was a battle. Like it was Charles Schwartzel was in the mix there. I believe. Yeah. Who else was in that mix? I'm just trying to. I think it was Jason Day was in there.
I think so.
Maybe Adam Scott. It was just a whirlwind of players who could have won that tournament, and I believe Charles Schwartzel birdied the last 4 holes. He was like the first guy since Palmer to do that. To birdie the last 3 holes, which I was like, wow! If you're going to win a Masters, that's how you win a Masters. Obviously, he hasn't won a major since. Never really contended another one since, but Charles Schwartzel won that one, 2012. Trying to remember, that was the first of Bubba's first 2 victories. He was battling with Louis, the South African Louis Oosthuizen. Louis made a double eagle on 2. He smoked a 2-iron down the hill, caught the slope, went to the right, went in. And I think he had like a 3 or 4 shot lead at that time. And then Bubba was kind of struggling. And somehow, some way, Gary Watson, a.k.a. Bubba, he got to a playoff. He went to number 10. Off the tee, hit it way right behind some bushes. And then he slung a left-handed draw from 120 around the trees onto the green. It was one of the craziest shots I'd ever seen in Masters histories. Onto the green, and he 2 putts for his par. Louis bogeys, and Bubba basically gets a little emotional, and he tears up.
Just a little.
Uses Ted Scott's as a towel, and he's a religious guy. He's an emotional dude, so Bubba got his jacket. I thought that was pretty exciting Masters as well. 2013,
especially from Bubba, is a guy who refuses to hit the ball straight. Well, he can't hit the ball straight. He's drawing, fading. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, he's an artist. Some people are scientists, some people are artists, right? It's different ways to play the game of golf, right? There's no one way. So Bubba got his jacket. I was the 3rd lefty to win a jacket, right? So something with lefties in Augusta, right? So.
Well, isn't Bubba the actual only true lefty to win a green jacket? Because Mike Weir wasn't a true lefty, and Phil isn't a true lefty. It wasn't. Well, Bubba was the only true lefty to win a Masters.
That's correct. 2013. It was Adam Scott's year. He was battling with the Duck, Angel Cabrera. Jason Day was up there as well. I believe he had the lead for a bit, Day, and he bogeyed a few coming down the stretch. Adam Scott needed a birdie on 18 to get to a playoff with Angel, or Angel had his 2nd jacket and his 3rd major at the time. Adam Scott hits grade 8 iron to the green, makes the putt. Go to a playoff, starts raining like shit, and I believe he birdied number 10. Yeah. And Aussie, that was the 2013 Masters, I should say. Yeah. Pretty exciting, as per usual. 2014 Masters, this was the battle between Bubba and a young Jordan Spieth. This little whiz kid from Texas. Played really well. I think Spieth had the lead for most of the tournament. And, it was foreshadowing what was going to come the next year. But Bubba took it from the youngster. I believe that was the year when he took it over the trees on 13 instead of going around them, and had gap wedge into the par 5 13.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The next year, the guys at Augusta put up trees right where Bubba. So they really Bubba-fied the hole, right? Because
We're not. We can't Eldrick proof it, so we got to bubbify it.
Pretty much. So Bubba's second jacket, another lefty to win. That was pretty exciting. I mean, not exciting down the stretch, but it was exciting to see him battle a young Jordan Spieth, and another jacket for him.
All the hype over
2015
Jordan Spieth being the next Eldrick. There's all that.
Well,
hype
2015,
as well too, so.
2015, he proved it because he blew the field away. I think second place was Phil, who was like 6 behind. I think Jordan Spieth had a putt on 18 to break Tiger's tournament record. He tied it. And at the time, you're like, this kid he can't do anything wrong. I mean, he'd won that Masters. He went on to win the next major at Chambers Bay down the road from us. And then 26 Masters, he was dominating as well up until, I think, the last round. He gets to that 12th hole, and it's splashdown park. And he goes to the drop zone, and then again, splash. Another shot from the drop zone, splash. And then you can kind of see cracks in the armor of the golden child, right? And unheralded Englishman Danny Willett won that. And I mean, he hasn't done much since, but he's won a tournament or two on the Euro Tour. I might have one other victory on the PGA Tour, but shocking. I mean, anyone who had money on Jordan Spieth on the back nine was probably counting their money, making their vacation plans, buying their next car or whatever. And whoops, Augusta National swallows up another.
Yeah.
Moving along, 2017 Masters. I'm trying to think of which Masters was that again. Was that the Sergio Garcia year? I believe it was.
I think
no, it wasn't. No, was it? Yeah, Sergio Garcia. That was him battling with Justin Rose. Yeah, him and Justin Rose battled it out. And then Sergio made a miraculous par on 13 after hitting into the creek and ended up making a crazy eagle on 15 with like a towering 8-iron from the fairway. Went to a playoff with Justin Rose, and then he had a chance to win it on 18, didn't do it, won in the playoff. Emotional. Yeah. 2018, it was Patrick Reed with Rory coming down the stretch. I honestly thought Rory was going to take it and finish his Grand Slam. Then he was like 2 back. Starting the final round, he eagles, or he doesn't eagle 2, but he hits it to like 3 feet on 2. I'm like, okay, cool. Rory's going to eagle this. He's going to birdie 3, going to birdie 8. Let's get this party rolling, right? He misses the putt on 2, makes birdie. It's not bad, but it's, you made a great shot. You should have made a 3. And then every single time he missed a green, it was like a friggin' a comedy of errors after that. And then Patrick Reed just played his way around the course, chipped and putted really well, wedged it well. And he got his jacket. And so that was your 2018, Victor. 2019, Paul. I think you may have missed most of this one, but it was an epic one. It was a battle between the Eldrickian one, Francisco Molinari, and Tony Finau in the last pairing. It was the first Masters that they'd ever gone off in threesomes and in split tees because it was just bad weather coming in, and they played in the morning. Molinari had the lead. They got to 12. Molinari splash. Finau splash. Eldrick right in the middle of the green. Just textbook. Like if there was a shot that you could bet on that was going to go on the green, I would have put pretty much everything I had that he was going to hit on the green there. Groups behind Tiger, Koepka splash, Ian Poulter splash. Like it wasn't over there, but he had got the lead, and then we know what happens when he gets the lead. I think on 15, I think Molinari went splash again, and DJ had a chance. He was making a charge. Koepka, Xander Schauffele had a chance in that one. Even Patrick Cantlay. It was crazy. I thought that was chills. Like the finish there when he was up 2, he made bogey to win by 1, and I mean, I knew he could do it, but I mean, it was a lot to come back from, and obviously he did it. But 2020 Masters was a little bit different. There was this little virus going around, so they played it in the fall, Paul. That was the weirdest Masters, probably even weirder than the Zach Johnson one, because it didn't have the same colors.
Yeah.
It was like really green. It didn't have like the violets and the purples and the pinks and and like just the really popping colors. It was nice. I mean, it's still Augusta National, but it was really just more green and lush still, but just different. The ball didn't roll out as much. It was DJ battling it out with Sung Jae Im and third guy in the last group, I believe, was Abraham Answer. Not the guys you would think that were going to be battling with DJ, but DJ, he pulled away, won the jacket. His brother started tearing up on the last hole because he knew it was pretty much over. And being a Southern Carolina guy, right, they want to win the Masters. Obviously, it's right across the border from them. And 2021 Masters was back to regular spot in April. It was between Xander and Hideki. Basically went down to, I think, the 16th hole, and Xander went splash. He was down, I think, 1 or 2.
Yeah.
That's your ball game. Hideki wins his green jacket. And the next one was given...
He's the first Asian to win a green jacket too, wasn't he? Isn't Hideki the first Asian to win a green jacket?
Yeah. I mean, VJ had won a jacket, but he doesn't count as an Asian because he was born in Fiji. But Hideki, first Asian-born player to win a green jacket, Masters. And he had a really, really nice Champions dinner from what they said. And 2022 was Scotty Scheffler battling it out with Cam Smith. Scheffler, I remember birdied. He chipped in on 3. That was a really big turning point right away because it looked like Cameron Smith was going to take a lead. And then Scheffler played really solid from there and just pulled away. Cameron Smith pulled back. I remember that was, it was pretty much a one-sided Masters from that one. And then 23 was a battle between Koepka and Jon Rahm. Another wet, just really soggy Masters. They had to play I think almost 2 rounds in one day. Not my favorite to watch, but just a lot of umbrellas and not much roll, obviously. But it was exciting for a while, and then Rahm pulled away, back 9, won it. And then last year's Masters, not exactly the most exciting ones. The last 2 or 3 haven't been the most exciting. It was Scheffler battling with Homa and Morikawa and Ludwig Åberg, the youngster from Sweden. And basically everyone went splash on 11 except for Scheffler. Morikawa splash, Åberg splash, and Homa went over the green on 12 and made a double. And that was your Masters, 2024 Masters.
It wasn't the 2023 and the last few, wasn't that when a lot of the big PGA Tour players went over to live? So it's not it's like you don't have your marquee PGA golfers out there because they're not playing in the PGA anymore. Most of them are over doing the live thing. So it's like you didn't really have the name brand golfers like your Eldrick and your Veej and your Ernies and your Spieth and Rory and all those guys. It's like you're getting people that you basically never really heard of before, that are out now. You kind of, I guess
it hasn't been the strongest field.
A chance to make a name for themselves too.
The fields aren't as strong without the live guys. Because only some of them qualify, and past champions obviously qualify, so the fields have been a little watered down, but that was a fun little recap of the last 25 Masters, Paul, and we'll be back for a little bit more Masters stuff, and we'd love if people would give us the old thumbs up, the old subscription and all that mess, and Paul and I are going to catch everyone next time. Later, y'all.
Hang loose. Peace out.